Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Build a Nation Challenge in Croatia with HNK Vukovar. Looking at how we're doing the coefficients, we have jumped over the last few years. I think we've gone from 12th all the way up to 8th. Targets really for the year is to get past Austria into 7th. A slightly longer term France in 5th place, and that's where we really start to get into the difficulties of having to get consistent 20 plus coefficient scores. As you can see in here, the highest one we've had so far is 21.2 in the 32-33 season. We've just slid a 7 point something off the end of the front. We've got one more single digit which will go in 2 years time, which is an 8.3, and then we can really make that inroad towards 5th place. The clubs around us are doing well. So without further ado, we'll get into the episode. We'll see how the transfer window has gone and what it looks like 10 games into the next season. So stick around, it should be a good one. And here we go then, tail end of last season, we picked up 2 signings. One was Ivica Saveil from Hajduk, a right winger. Brought him in because he's Croatian, so he's a 20-year-old Croatian on the right hand side, up to 4-star potential. Definitely from a squad perspective, he's really handy to have in here. He's got a couple goals already, 7 games in the Croatian league, 3 goals, 1 goal in the Champions League as well, so making some inroads, getting some starts and fitting into the squad quite well. Not the greatest overall stat spread in terms of the green ones we like to see, but he's got a couple more years development in him, and if he just cranks out a few more stats, I think he'd be a really good signing for his long term. Following that, we got Christian Lang from Bodo Glimt for 4.3, raising to 4.4 million. Austrian midfielder, 19 years old. Brought him in for that kind of central midfielder. He can play deep as well, which is good. So he's got that kind of ball-winning midfield mentality as well. 2.5-star current ability, up to 5-star potential. So if we get the right development from him, again, not looking too great in terms of the greens just yet, but I think he's got some more potential in there. But as a long-term EU central midfielder with a bit of youth and growth on him, it's another really shrewd signing from us. Moving into this season, only 4 really. First one, Killian Way, pre-season agreement. He's come in as a central midfielder, but ultimately he's a first choice. 3-star current, 3.5-star potential. But yeah, his stats are really good. He plays really good. He's got 7 appearances in the league with a 7.29 average, 3 in the Champions League with a 7.07, and he's got a couple of goals in there as well. But in terms of a really skillful technical player in the middle of the pitch, he's going to fit in really well, and he's already cemented himself as one of, I'd say, 4 really good central midfielders we've got in there now. Alongside him, we brought in Zoran Djukic on a free transfer from AC Milan. Again, a Croatian striker to rotate with Martinez up top, and I think Paolo is probably going to have to move out and move on at some point. We're having 1 Croatian player in there from a homegrown nation perspective. Just from that European squad building and domestically, it's really useful to have a Croatian in there. He's got 3 goals in 2 starts, 7.04 average. So again, another really good shrewd signing from a Croatian perspective, as is Luka Krizanovic, another central midfielder with quite a good stat spread, 26-year-old, not too much development potential. But again, bringing him in on the cheap to be a squad player, rotating in that central midfield role, and with the homegrown at nation status, is another one, just part of that squad development build-up. And then finally, Christian Horovig Retov from FC Nordsjælland, 7.25 million. And I really took this one as an opportunity signing. I'd seen him pop up on the scout window a couple of times. I ummed and ahed because it's another non-Croatian player we're bringing in. However, as an 18-year-old Danish player, his stat spreads compared to some of the other ones we've got in midfield is pretty phenomenal. He's already at 3.5-star current ability at 18 years old with a up to 4.5-star potential. So tries killer through balls. Argues with officials isn't that great and tries to play his way out of trouble. A really good player in the middle of the pitch, who I think if we can hold on to him, we can keep him for many years to come, and probably the first true player that you can really build a squad around. I know we've got Mohar and we've got Martinez, some of the young really good players that we've got in there, but I think he's, as an 18-year-old player of that ability, I think he's one really to look forward to for the long term. What that's meant, so 7.25 million in terms of transfers in, plus, so expect 14 really when you take in the other 2 in there as well. In terms of the transfers out, we've let a few go. Vastislav Javorcic, again a Croatian midfielder, Again, one I am denied about for a little bit. He's still worth a bit of money, and he's not a terrible player. Got some international caps just as he was leaving, but I didn't see anywhere he was really fitting into the squad. Christopher Ndululu, another defender that hadn't really realised his potential, but we couldn't give him the game time because it's probably our strongest position, centre half, so we moved him on for 2.3 million. Antoine Tessier, who had such a good season for us last year, he went on a paltry 6 million or so, but that was due to his minimum release fee clause, so he's gone. There wasn't much we could do about it, and it's created a bit of a gap on that left hand side. He had the stats where it counted, scored really well for us last season. Well, he's got 27 appearances and 4 goals last year, so a bit of a shame to see him go. However, not much we could do about it. Mike Wazowski, one that, I really liked him. I rated him as a player. He didn't have the best in terms of potential or current ability ratings, but he's just a really consistent performer. However, he was running out of contract. He was worth about 3 million and we got offered 6, so I've cashed in on him. With Surveil coming in on that right hand side as well, it was probably just the right time to let him go at 26, cash in on him a little bit and bring some other players in. Antoine Gluic has gone out on loan, so a young Croatian left back. He should come back in fine fettle next season. Aldrich Bitumba, the Belgian left back, we've let him go for about 9 million, again just to bring in some funds and redevelop the squad and see what we can put in at left back in terms of what we've got at the club and the players who came back from loan. Tape Kadama, again another one of them foreign players we had to get back out of the club, so we went really cheap. Probably could have kept him and developed him and sold him for a bit more, but again it was important to get him off the books in terms of squad rotation. Marin Androsovic has gone out on loan as a young Croatian fullback. We'll bring him back next season. Kaglar Yuksek is another one who's gone out on loan, 21-year-old Austrian. We'll get him out, see how he develops, maybe bring him in and integrate him next season or sell him on for a profit. Patrick Nkem, who we'd had for a long time, developed him for a number of years, but ultimately that non-foreign status he had and the fact he wasn't as good as the rest of the midfielders led to him leaving. Ahmed Apostolov went on a free transfer, a bit of a shame really, maybe could have kept him a bit longer, but I just don't think we could give him the game time with all the players we've got in the squad. So really good history he had with us really, so a huge number of years. What was that, 6 years? Really consistent performer, number of goals, generally averaging above 7, so lots of players with some big shoes to fill when they come in. Ivanov, we brought in, Bulgarian, we put him out on loan for a season. I think he'll come back bold and bright next year. Whether he fits in or not, whether we trade him on, I don't know. We've got some really strong depth in that central midfield role. Joe Reed, again, really good player. Would have probably liked to have kept him, but his wage was so high and he was a foreign count as well. He's just cut our losses and let him go. He's gone to Tottenham. Maybe could have stayed with us, but I just don't know how we fit him in. And then Ivan Lutar, who's gone out on loan as a left back. What that really means in terms of development centre is players out on loan wise, there's only about 5 out there, so not too many. They should reintegrate. Under 19s is we've shrunk down a little bit over the years. However, we have got a bit of a diamond in the rough in Miroslav Kapin. He's got the potential to be better than Mohar as well. So at only 16-year-olds, he's got a few little green stats in there: balance, determination, and first touch. His technique and vision's up there as well. So we'll let him develop a little bit further, see how we can integrate him. And maybe next season when he turns 17, we can get him some game time due to the squad restriction rules. The only other one in there, Luka Latika, defensive midfielder. Again, he's got some potential in him. We'll see how he grows this year. Maybe pulling him for a bit of European squad rotation next year. Youth candidate wise, it looks like it's terrible at the minute, but I don't think it's really come through. Finance wise, 43 million in the bank, 13 still in a transfer budget, which we'll save for probably when the next gen list comes out to see if there's any EU players we can snap up. Club vision wise, it's going pretty well. We've not got the best youth system in the country, unfortunately, probably due to the quality of players coming in, but the last few intakes have been pretty dreadful, to be honest, and I'm hoping for something a little bit better this year so we can get a huge number of players in and get them passed around the division to kind of bump up our development within that phase. We've been through most of the other stuff. Competition wise, 10 games in, sat top of the league, 25 points, so won 8, drawn 1, lost 1. Game we lost was against Osijek. I think it was just following a European game, and the game we drew was against Dynamo, which they gave us all sorts of problems last year. we're hoping we can get past them this year. If it's not Dynamo, it's Hajduk, and maybe Osijek are pushing into it this season. But 10 games, 9 goals for Martinez, highest average rating for Seville, and Pereira still getting some assists on the left-hand side. In terms of the Champions League, we've got into the group stage. We played 2 games and we've got 3 points. The most frustrating thing about that is the 3 points we got were against Juventus, who currently sat on 0 points. But we got a 1-0 win against them, and then we got beat by Ludogorets, who are actually, that was the team I would have thought we would have beat. So a bit of a mixed bag of results in there. However, 3 points on the board is promising. Croatian Cup, we've not played our first game in there, but we're away at BSK Bijelo Brdo. And then Croatian Super Cup, we came out on top for the first time, so it's another trophy to add to the collection. In terms of the tactics, largely the same. Defensive midfielder, we've got 1 centre mid attacking, 1 centre mid support, and a deep line playmaker. A couple of inside forwards, although we might change one of them back to a winger. And then we've got a pressing forward in Martinez, because we've gone into a little bit of Gegen press as opposed to tiki-taka, just to see how our fortunes work out. But in terms of how the squad's rotating, it's going pretty well. Generally, that's what we kind of start with. I think if we were going to pick our best 11, Seville would come in on that right hand side. Toth has come back from on loan at Inter Milan, and actually, despite them meeting his minimum release clause, we offered him a new contract and he stayed, much to my surprise. But he's one we're looking to bring in this year. Probably phase Pereira out to a degree, although he's having a good season. Sangante is another one worth mentioning. We did get a bid of 42 million from the Saudis in there, and I was on the verge of accepting it, but only 11 million of that was going to go back into the transfer budget. So I was a bit dubious as to whether that was actually a good deal, considering he's one of the best players at the club, and certainly in terms of the league, he makes the media dream 11, which we'll look at in a minute. So squad is shaping up quite nicely. Just over 25 players. I think we've got close to 30 in there. I think I've removed all the lone players now, maybe apart from one. So there's always one that scrapes through. But yeah, really good spread of players, really strong at the back, quite strong up top. João Paulo probably needs to move on. He's not going to get the game time. And there's a couple of youth products in there from a homegrown at club perspective and homegrown at nation. But yeah, the squad's looking good. In terms of the planner, all the positions are looking pretty handy. I don't think there's anywhere we've got any particular areas of weakness. Maybe right back is something we need to look at in the future. I've been looking at Noah Mikic at Dynamo, but because we're a rival, they wanted in excess of like 20 million for a player who's worth 7. So I've steered clear of that at the minute, and we'll reevaluate that in the summer. And yeah, I think this could be the season where we truly dominate. I know we've won the league a couple of times, but I think this might be the first time that we actually get there comfortably and have a bit of a lead at the top of the table. In terms of dynamics, most players are happy. João Paulo wants to move to a bigger club, and he's not in the Champions League squad. Neither is Tim Broich, who's the former Next Gen winner. Just can't really find a place in the squad or get him any game time. Might try and play him out on the wing, see how he gets on, but it's very difficult sometimes to get all the players you want into the squad. Yeah, so all in all, in terms of an update, we're doing fantastically well, and we've got a little bit further to go in terms of becoming the best club in the country, developing the youth system. The coefficient side of things, I think we've gone up about 4 places, and we can potentially gain 1 place, maybe 2 at a push this year if we have some really good cup runs across the board. But yeah, that's where we are. I don't think there's much more to say really. I'll get on and play the games. The schedule's looking good. We've had a couple hat-trick on his, I think might even be his debut for Seville. He's got a hat-trick. But players looking good, results looking good. Quite a lot of games to get through. So I won't say anything more here. The next episode might be slightly delayed due to me going away for a little bit. Get some much needed rest. But in a week or so, I'll put another episode up to see how the season ended and see if we made up them coefficient gains. And then after that, we're kind of looking at maybe what we're going to do for FM26, which I think on this occasion, judging by the things we've had in the comments previously, we're probably going to go and look and do something in Scotland, start the bottom leagues in Scotland, and see if we can take one of the teams up to the top division, give us a chance to try out some of the new features in FM26, see what transfers are like. We won't do a youth development because we want to see what that kind of transfer and scouting network's like, but we might just do a one club save where we take someone from the bottom and take them up to the top. But I'm sure something will come out in due course when the beta comes out and we start pumping out some videos. So until next time, enjoy saves, enjoy the football, and I'll see you soon.